We'll continue with other things that are correcting themselves due to these tariffs. Apple ships production to India to dodge 54% China tariffs. Apple is ramping up iPhone imports from India to soften the blow from Trump's new tariffs, which hit Chinese-made goods with a 54% rate, double the 26% applied to Indian imports. So guys, I have this idea. I have this brilliant idea. What we'll do is we'll have all of the Indians stay in India and they can be employed there instead of coming to America as H-1B visas. Instead of using slave labor and zero environmental restrictions in China, Apple can take a little hit off the top and pay people living wages and keep them in India. I think it would work incredibly well. And I also want to open everybody's mind up to the reality that the modern consumer habits when it comes to phones are not how it needs to be. We sort of assume it's almost like just understood that you need to get a new phone every year. New phone every single year from the same company. It's the same phone, slightly upgraded every single year. This was designed on purpose by Steve Jobs to maximize profits. And what you end up with is a system of consumption that you could not have designed to be worse for everybody in terms of like the production that's necessary, requiring slave labor to even be profitable, the pollution that it creates. I mean, there is no reason why you should have to get a new phone every year, but that's what people have been programmed into, and that's the way that our, phone system has been designed to operate. There's absolutely no reason why that should be the case. It's only the case because Steve Jobs decided that was the way to maximize profits. And he did this forever. At one point we should just go through like Steve Jobs' biography. I honestly don't know what to make of him. Part of me still just sort of admires the guy just as being an icon, as being a real American, as being a champion of capitalism and a revolutionary and changing the entire world, not necessarily for the better, but certainly his influence is undeniable. At the same time, when you hear about the way that he deliberately designed his products to do things like, the whole thing with PCs in the beginning these were things people like built in their garages and everything was swappable and you could upgrade everything and it was all very like hands-on. It's like a hobby more so than a serious industry. And it was Steve Jobs who had to fight all the people in his company to be like, no, everything needs to be proprietary. Everything needs to be locked in. So they need to get a whole new computer if they want to replace one little thing. It's the same reason why like iPods were probably the first widespread consumer electronic to not have a removable battery. Because to Apple, it was all about removing the ability of the consumer to have an impact on the product. And instead and it sort of paved the way for what we're seeing now, which is you don't really own anything. You don't own your car. Things like luxury car companies, I think Mercedes did it, where like you have to pay a subscription to get access to your heated seats. Like the technology's there, it's built in, but you can't use it until you pay them to allow them to use it. It's all this proprietary manipulation through products. The point being that this was never necessary. The whole system has been set up to maximize profit for a very few, and has been created almost in a way that could not be designed more exploitatively or disastrously when it comes to just nature itself and human interaction. So I want to see China not be the place where we make absolutely everything constantly. Automakers like BMW, GM, and Mercedes charge monthly fees for faster speeds, heated seats, and more. Yeah, this is the thing. It's, again, not necessary. The whole idea of, designed obsolescence that Apple really, championed and was on the forefront of. If these people who are, telling us to eat bugs and telling us that we're not allowed to drive cars or fly in planes anymore, they really cared about the environment, maybe the number one thing they could do, would be to go to war with China over the fishing fleets. But right up there in the list would be to end planned obsolescence and instead have people create things that actually last a lifetime. But that's not how you create infinite growth and continual profit. So things are just being set right. These tariffs are long, long overdue. And even just some of the secondary effects that are already happening are going to have major positive reverberations. Movies are going to have to start catering to Americans again. We're not going to be able to utilize brutal suicide net slave labor in China. And all of the Indians will have jobs in India and won't have to hire each other here. It's all very amazing.